Hi guys, welcome to another video. So today I want to talk about the settings I use in my GoPro Hero 9. With the summer coming, many people using GoPros and action cameras, they often leave everything as default, and while these cameras have a lot of potential, the default settings are not always the best. So I have a small few tips that I use personally on my GoPro that I think it can help you guys. In the past I had the GoPro Hero 7, and on the 7 I put most of these settings as well, not all of them, because some of them are not actually available on the 7. I'm not quite sure about the 8, but all the other settings that you have, that we can have it here. If you change it, I promise you're gonna have better results. If you actually have any settings that I didn't talk about, or any things that you make different and you want to let me know, in case you have better results than what I get, please let me know in the comments down below. So let's just get into it, and here are the settings that I use for my GoPro Hero 9. So let's get into it. So I usually, you pick up a file. I'll obviously have my profile set up there. So I'm just going to show you what I use. So I use the camera in 5K, 24 frames per second. This is what I like the most. I also use the lens not in wide, but in linear. For what I do, walking and talking, vlogging, I like a little bit more. I feel that wide and super wide are just too wide for me and distorts too much. And I also use hypersmooth on, not the hypersmooth boost, because the hypersmooth boost crops the image even more. So I'm using linear, so then it would be too close, even though the hypersmooth boost is much better. But if you're doing, as a normal action camera, the boost will work just fine, I suppose. Then I'll leave everything as it is, off, no limit and off. The timer off as well, no zoom. And here is what I feel that all the changes make in terms of image quality. So I go for the highest bitrate possible, so I can have the best image quality as I can get. I leave the shutter speed as auto. You can do it manually if you prefer. I leave it as auto just because I change environments often and it's easier for me. I find that the GoPro exposes a bit too much, so I usually put -1 EV in the exposure compensation. So the image is not as bright. The white balance, I don't leave it as default. I put it usually at 5500 because I shoot mostly outside, and I think this is the best image I got so far. If it's cloudy, I bump it a little bit more, but usually I leave it as default. I leave the minimum ISO at 100 with a maximum ISO of 3200. I find more than that is really unusable, and already 3200 is a bit more than I would like to for the size of this sensor. The sharpness, I find that GoPro footage is a bit over sharpened, so I usually use it as medium. You can also use it as low if you want, and then do some post-processing with it afterwards. I don't do it. I prefer to leave it as medium. The GoPro colors are a bit too oversaturated for my taste. I don't find them that very real, so I usually have the GoPro set as flat. So is the more real colors for my taste, what I've seen so far. So you can use the GoPro colors, but I really prefer to have flat. And when it comes to audio, I use the raw audio in high. So what does this do? This creates another file, which is an audio file. So you have your video file and you have your audio file separate. But keep in mind that your video file also has the audio. And the benefit of using this is that while I never use the separate audio file, I find that the built-in audio within the video, it's better than if this is off. So I've used it as high and it's been working fine for me. The wind, I have it as off. I don't like the wind reduction from the camera. I prefer to have it as off. And this is how the settings I use. I also use an external mic, so I just plug it and this will lit up. And this is the settings I've used, and I think you can see the difference here between with these settings and without these settings in the GoPro, and how it goes. So I really prefer it this way. So as promised, a short video, and this is the settings I use in the GoPro Hero 9. You can try on your GoPro, even the previous ones, you have many of these settings, so you can use them and try them as well. And you will see that, at least in my point of view, that the quality improves much more just by these small tweaks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I see you in the next one.